What's going on, you guys?
Hey.
Welcome to the inaugural stream of the Dre Area Sports Show. We're going to be talking about NFL Wildcard Weekend. Now, we still have two more games coming up tomorrow. Eagles at Tampa Bay, Buccaneers. And we also got, because of the weather delay, we got Steelers at Buffalo, which is going to be a good game as well.
Will be a good game.
Yep.
Yes, I think so. But guys, again, thank you for being here. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching it on the flagship station, which is Nicotina over on YouTube, you can leave a super chat if you'd like to make a comment about any of the games, any of the players, any of the shit you want to talk about. Go right ahead and I'll pull those up. And also make sure you subscribe to both channels as well. Now, guys, so today we finally got a game that was actually like a close game. And in a lot of ways, I kind of felt like, you know, like the Rams should have pulled that one off. But they didn't, and the Lions won that game, which we're going to break down a little bit later. But, guys, what did you think of the Rams and Lions game? Just, you know, real quick.
Yeah, I think the Rams lost, and they got what they deserved.
They got what they deserve. Fuck them.
It was a good game. It was a good game, close game, which is kind of nice to see in the postseason.
Right.
Not like the crap we saw with the Cowboys and Packers.
Puka Nacua, man.
Oh,
he was unbelievable.
He tore it up. Yeah.
Dude, that guy, he's absolutely incredible as a rookie. Imagine having, I mean, dude, the Rams kind of reminded me of like the Golden State Warriors of last year, where it was like they're the kind of veteran, older team, and they got a few young guys, and they're going against this young, up-and-coming team, the Lions, how we went against the Sacramento Kings. Although the Warriors won that series, these guys didn't. But still, it was a much more fun game to watch, and like we were saying, Puka Nacua was just going off. I mean, he was catching everything.
It seemed like both offenses got off to a pretty quick start. It wasn't until the second half where the defenses started to settle in a little bit more, making more plays. Yeah. One thing I did notice from not only this game but from other games, which I know we'll talk about later, but just the tackling in general.
The tackling was atrocious.
Atrocious. I mean,
really
think
bad.
About like the Chiefs game with the inclement weather, the harsh weather and stuff. So you can understand like, you know, missed tackles in that aspect, but you're talking about, you know, controlled environments. I mean, even in the Cleveland game, Houston game, just a lot of bad tackling throughout the whole, you know, first round so far. So something I picked up on.
Oh shit! Hold on. Yeah, no, the tackling has not been very good, and it feels like, you know, you're watching teams here who have not had a bye week like the Niners had, and like the Ravens have had as well. So I think going into this game next week, they're going to be much sharper, more aggressive, and able to make tackles. Unlike some of these teams that are just basically playing week by week by week and just kind of running themselves down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of the depth too, with all the injuries, even heading into the playoffs. You know, I mean, the Lions going into that game, you know, we didn't know if Sam Laporta was going to play. A couple of key members on both sides of the ball. I mean, Kyron Williams goes out. You don't know if he's coming back in the second half. So everybody's banged up. This is kind of the time where you really see the depth really coming to fruition of people having to step up last minute and make plays, and whoever will do that, you know, the rest of the way is going to be the team that's going to come out on top. So,
I mean, this is the best time to be a football fan. You know, it's just the postseason. Everything counts. Everything's at the highest level. It's the best.
Everything means a little bit more.
Everything means a little bit more.
You're going to get everybody's best shot. So, like I said, the depth is going to be. It's going to be something to watch throughout the rest of the playoffs. So
and the Smitty, I just want to say I agree with you. Fuck those Rams and those Cowgirls.
Hey,
I'm glad they both got fucking knocked out.
How about them Cowboys?
Oh man, fuck those guys. Okay, so let's go to the first game. The first game on the docket, which happened yesterday, and that was the Houston and the Browns. So let's go ahead and pull up that header here. And yes, I fucked up. It should be Browns at Houston, but whatever. Okay, so this game in general. Okay, so I had a lot of people talking about how this game was going to be, you know, a Joe Flacco. He's coming, you know, he's fresh. He's throwing for 300 yards a game. You know, he's got a real shot to take this team to the, you know, deeper into the playoffs, possibly the Super Bowl. And the whole time I was like, dude, there's no fucking way, because here's the thing. This guy's fucking like 40 years old at least. I mean, I don't know how old he is exactly, but
the guy was on the couch. He was on the couch. He's a true on the couch, get to the field guy.
Yes. And I heard people saying like, hey man, what if the Browns make it to the Super Bowl and they beat the Niners and Flacco beats us again? I was like, dude, look, first of all,
no,
he's playing against the Texans, right? So he's not even playing in cold weather yet. You know, the older you get and you get into like cold, shitty weather, your body just tenses up. You know what I mean? But I mean, look, he threw 2 pick sixes. That sealed the game right there. I was like, okay, once the first one, I was like, oh, that's not good. The second one, I was like, all right, this is just getting stupid now.
Yeah. You know what? And I didn't see that coming. I didn't think the Browns were just going to roll over and say, scratch my belly, and they did. They came out flat. Houston came out just playing some great defense, and CJ Stroud, man, that kid can sling it.
Dude, he's a monster. Can you imagine?
He did miss some open receivers. Okay, he did miss a couple of those, but boy,
I mean, but he's a young quarterback, so it's gonna happen. Yeah, the owner of the Panthers is like, fuck, god damn it, why did I take Bryce Young? And he demanded it. He was like, I want Bryce Young. And they're like, oh.
Just a few passes missed. 16 for 21, 274. I mean, 3 touchdowns. No,
3 touchdowns. Was it 157 quarterback rating? I mean, geez, the kid tore it up, and that defense lit it up. And the Browns just looked like they were playing at a different pace.
It seems
now. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it seems like already in his young career, he's already developing a great rapport with Nico Collins. Ever since Tank Dell went down, he's been obviously the go-to guy.
They had a really good draft too.
Something obviously to watch the future. That's going to be something to watch. So,
I mean, if you look at these numbers, right, and people were, like I said, they were really talking up this whole idea that let me get rid of this before they hit me with that. About Joe Flacco making a difference in the playoffs. But let me look. I mean, the guy was 34-46 for 307 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and he had an 80.6 quarterback rating. In comparison to CJ Stroud, he had a 157 quarterback rating.
Pretty much a perfect passer rating.
Perfect. 3 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, Davis Mills even got in the game for a pass. That's when you know it's a true fucking blowout. Yeah, he probably handed off a bit as well. And here's the problem too: is that when you look at the rushing attack from the Browns, Kareem Hunt 8 rushes to 26 yards. Joe Flacco Jerome Ford, I'm sorry, 17 yards. I mean, that's just not enough. That's just not going to get it done. And it just seemed like they fell behind.
Making you one-dimensional, and that's one of the ways you're pretty much going to get through these playoffs. You have to make the other team one-dimensional. If you can stop the run game and pin your ears back and go after the quarterback, that's a recipe for success. So
that's huge. That works at any time in the season. You can stop one portion of their offense. It just plays some really good defense. Your chances skyrocket. Yeah. So. Good call.
Yeah, I mean, if your secondary only has to be, average to subpar at times. If you have a front 7 that can get after the quarterback, you have a very good chance in being successful, not only in the regular season, but obviously when it counts in the postseason. So
that's right, guys. So on the inaugural stream that we're doing here, we got 10 people watching on both channels. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to channels as well. Whichever one you're watching, subscribe to it. We really do appreciate that. I'm actually about 5 subscribers away from 1,800 on my main channel, which is Nicotina. So if you guys can subscribe and drop a like, the more likes,
definitely.
The more likes, the more YouTube likes to circulate the video. So that will definitely help things out. But in this game, I expected more out of the Browns, and I'm telling you, the 2 pick sixes at that point, I was like, dude, this is not good. Like, I mean, how do you recover from that? You're just like, okay, guys, I just fucked up twice. I won't do it again. Like,
you don't. We saw it in the Dallas game. Dak Prescott throws 2 in the first half, and it's pretty much backbreaking at that point.
Hey, Dak was like, how can I fuck this up as best I can? It's just like, oh no.
Let's see what you could do with the ball.
I mean, I understand him trying to force the ball into CeeDee Lamb. You want to get the ball into your playmaker's hands, but at some point, that's exactly what they're expecting. And sure enough, can't remember the cat's name that took the pick six, but I mean, obviously a great play on his part, but I mean, you could see he just wanted to get that ball to CD any way he could and ended up costing him.
I mean, and they just got out to just a huge jump on that team.
Yes.
It was.
It
was 27-0.
Pretty much any possession they had, they were scoring 7.
Yeah,
they got into the red zone all those times, but I know they're on a streak of some sort right now as far as when they have the ball in the red zone.
But I mean, look, I thought I thought Myles Garrett would have a much bigger presence on defense, and I just never felt like that defense really was able to control the game. And CJ Stroud, I mean, he was throwing bombs down the field for touchdowns, and at that point, it was just too much for the Browns to overcome. And back-to-back pick sixes, I mean, that sealed the deal.
And for the Browns, they didn't see CJ Stroud last time, right? I think he was injured in that.
Yeah, he was injured.
So they got a chance to see this kid throw the ball live. They're like, oh shit. Wrong game plan.
Pretty much.
Jesse Allen says, he says, Andre, I remember when you had 10 subscribers. That's true. He was around back when I had 10 subscribers on my primary channel, which is Nicotina, when you were a young fella. Yeah, I was. That was back in the day too. He was on my show once. I had him on there. We were talking about some stuff. But so now that we know that the Houston Texans took care of business against the Cleveland Browns, we're going to move on to our next game, which is Kansas City, or I should say the Dolphins at Kansas City. Now, look, Miami, it just felt like they got hit with so many freaking injuries, and they ended up in a shitty situation in Kansas City, in the cold, in the snow, and it was like, dude, what happened here? This team was off and running. Everyone's like, oh man, this offense is incredible. Their defense is coming around. It just felt like they got decimated by injuries, and they ended up in just a fucked situation in Kansas City. I mean, guys, what did you think about this game? Let's start with Daniel.
Well, the whole thing about decimated by injuries, yes, but they still had their starting quarterback, and they had their star wide receiver in Tyreek. They still had their running back. So the offense was intact, and you just didn't see any of that video game stuff that they were pulling off during the regular season. It just
totally crippled them. With the snow, they were like, "What do we do? What do we do?"
Yeah, it was just so freaking cold, bone cold, and boy, it looked like it hurt out there. It's just yeah. I mean, they just really didn't get it going. And I had thought this game was going to be a little bit closer because it's so damn cold. And you can see the ball kind of like fly out of the hands weird. Mahomes, I think, threw the ball on the ground on the first drive, because I don't know what happened there. Kicking the ball wasn't that easy either. But
hand warmers.
I thought, right. And I thought KC was going to win that game regardless, especially if it was a close game. But yeah.
Hey, big shout out to Niner for Life. He's a diehard Niner fan, man.
Oh, Niners,
glad to see you here.
All day. Let's go.
Let's go.
He said the Dolphins were really overrated this year.
Absolutely.
And again,
they were just one of the handful of teams that I felt that were completely over.
And there was a ton of guys out there that that were saying, I think the Dolphins can make it to the Super Bowl. Their defense is not strong enough to make it to the Super Bowl. To take on a team like the Ravens or Kansas City.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. The only way that they were going to win this game is if this game was played in Miami, and even then, when you give Pat Mahomes a field with no snow on it, and you think he's going to score less than 26 points, yeah, right. I mean, these guys are going to come through, and it's funny when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like they are kind of like the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. Like they're just hot. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then even now, it's like, you can't really count them out of a game. Now, obviously, the Warriors right now suck, but I'm saying back in the, when they were on their run, it's like you just can't.
Well, they're just not that good right now. Okay, there's opportunity for improvement.
There's opportunity for improvement, definitely. Niner for Life writes, bring on the Cheeseheads. We cannot afford to sleep on them next week. Absolutely not. And we're going to get to that game.
There.
Yeah, and we're going to cover that game in a little bit.
We all know what we saw.
Oh yeah. So
as far as
yeah, go ahead.
Dre, go ahead. What were you going to say about this game?
No, as far as Tua goes, I mean, he looked like he was playing in the snow. I mean, he looked frigid. He looked cold. He looked indecisive. He looked very timid on a lot of his.
He threw a pick on the first drive.
Yeah, and he completely sailed it
man.
Completely sailed it. His receiver had no opportunity to catch that ball right into the safety hands. I mean, that was pretty much. You could tell he just
wasn't ready.
What's his record in 48 and below? I mean, he hasn't won a game when it's like minus 48, and that's. Or I'm sorry, below 48 degrees.
Minus he's like fucking frozen.
I think I've won a game.
It doesn't matter though. Either way, he's got a terrible record when it's cold.
When it's cold, yeah.
Well, he's definitely not a quarterback. Yeah, he's definitely not a quarterback you can trust to win the game. And he has.
Hey, what's up, 187? Another big Niner fan, friend of mine.
Yeah.
Bang bang Niner gang. There we go.
He didn't prove that. Even the Titans pulled it off with a miracle 14 points or something like that. With 4 minutes left in regulation. I mean, Tua had a chance to take that team down there and score, and he didn't do shit.
He just looked cold and miserable. He was just like, "Oh man, I don't want to be here anymore."
Well, they were all pretty cold in the beginning. You could tell,
Yeah, they were all just like, "Holy fuck, what's happening right now?" And then when you break down the stats, I mean, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, look, he was 20 of 39. It's not good for 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, a 63.9 quarterback rating. Like, okay. Mahomes, 23 of 41, 262 from the air, 1 touchdown, 83.6 quarterback rating. Look, the conditions were shit, but Mahomes, he pulled it off. Isaiah Pacheco, 89 yards.
Oh, that dude came out running hard.
And he was running hard and fast.
Oh, boy.
When he was running the ball, I was like, hey, is it snowing there? Because it didn't seem like it is when he has the ball. But on the other end, I mean, our old buddy Raheem Mostert, 8 carries, 33 yards.
That's the Mostert we know.
That's the Raheem.
That's the Raheem.
And this guy,
invisible. He can become invisible.
Yes.
And that's what happened right there.
I mean, Tua almost outrushed him. I mean, he missed him by 8 yards.
This is the actual definition of a finesse team. This is a finesse team. They don't know how to win in inclement weather. They can't win those tough, grinded games. I mean, it's who they are. It's their identity as of right now.
They just don't feel like they don't give a sense of toughness.
They don't. They're just lightning fast. They're just lightning fast. And if you knock off their timing, if you bump them, if you play a little hard-nosed football, they're gonna fold every time. And we've seen it. And they were one of those teams that you couldn't trust when they were playing a team. Above 500. How many wins did they have this year facing teams above 500? I think just one, and that was when they just happened to be yours truly, the Dallas Cowboys. So another.
I mean, again, this is another team that reminded me of the Dallas Cowboys, where they beat up on these weak teams, they beat up on these Patriots, they beat up on like the Giants, all these shitty teams. The Cowboys were the biggest. They beat up on all kinds of shitty teams. And every time they went against a winning team, they would lose. Mm-hmm. And look, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles, but I mean, look, that team is falling apart. And they beat
with what we know now about the Eagles, definitely.
Yeah, they're a mess.
The first game that they won against a team with a winning record was the Seattle Seahawks, and at the time they were I want to say they were like 6-5. And if that's what you call a winning record, I mean, like, fuck, man, come on. It's like
above 500.
Yeah, it's like barely,
Yeah.
The other thing too to look at with this game is that Tyreek Hill, 5 catches, 62 yards. He had that one long one for 53.
That's about it.
That's about it. I mean, he really had nothing.
Followed him up.
Yeah.
He had 8 targets, and they knew that he was going to go there. Jalen Waddle, 2 catches. I mean, there's just nothing going on, and really the weather just completely shut down Mike McDaniel's offense. I like Mike McDaniel. He's a funny guy. I love watching his press conferences. But look, and I think he's going to be a really good coach. But he was put in a situation in Kansas City in the snow. I just thought they were fucked.
Yeah, from the get-go. And even on the flip side, it seems like now on the offensive side of the ball, it seems like they're finally starting to establish a number 1 receiver for Kansas City, and that's Rashee Rice. having a great
yeah.
game.
He had 8 catches, 130 yards, a touchdown. Travis Kelce, 7 catches, 71 yards. The real backbreaker when it comes to this game too is that when you look at Patrick Mahomes, he had 2 rushes, 41 yards, averaged 20.5 yards a carry, and he only ran it twice. So, and he had a 28 yarder. And this is what he does to you.
Yeah.
And he did it to San Francisco in the Super Bowl. When he has to run, it's just one of those other aspects of his game that like you kind of sleep on because he doesn't do it all the time. But when he has to, he's actually pretty good at it. And you're like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But he's more of like a straight runner. He's not going to sit there and juke
He's not going to Lamar Jackson
He's not
you.
going to Josh Allen you and power through you and try to get through, get that extra yard. He's going to go finesse out of bounds with his legs in the air, that kind of stuff. Okay.
do the run out of bounds with the ball forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing the old NBA or the Michael Jordan symbol. Whee!
Yeah,
exactly.
Niner for life writes the Niners should have never gotten rid of Mostert. Imagine him and McCaffrey a 1-2 punch. But here's the thing, though, is that like they have 2 other running backs that are really good, in Mitchell and J.P. Mason. I mean, these guys are really good.
Mason's a stud, man. That kid is good.
He's one of those guys too, where I feel like if Mason was on a different team, he would be a starter. I mean, this guy's really good. If he went to Seattle, they'd be like, it's the next coming of Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah. I mean, the Niners utilize him in third down situations. And I mean, you can see why. He's a hard runner. He'll gain yards after contact all the time. We see it every time he's usually out there.
Yeah. I will
shifty
say,
at the same time and can has a little bit of breakaway speed. So, I mean, that's pretty much everything you're looking for in a lead back.
Yeah,
he could definitely be starting somewhere else.
The time that we had Mostert, I believe we were going through like injury-riddled seasons. That was the Garoppolo era where he was hurt all the time. Then Mostert would get hurt. He missed
Jimmy.
the season. I mean, I think getting rid of those guys was getting rid of the bad juju. Let's stay healthy now because so many years in a row there, the Niners were constantly getting injured, and that really affected their ability to
win
get
consistently
into the postseason and win consistently. But now they got one of the best units I've seen them ever have.
I mean, everybody's over 1,000 yards this year. In some fashion.
They're dialed in.
I would argue this too. I think that the Niners offense and defense, for that matter, is nearly as potent as the team we had in '94. I would say that this team is loaded. And, you could say, well, we had Dion back then. Well, we have Charvarius Ward. I mean, in coverage, this guy's really, really good. Not to mention, we got Demo Lenore. Ambry Thomas out of nowhere has become like really, really good.
And Lamore has come so far from where he first came into the league.
He wasn't even on the field when he first got here.
He wasn't really that good, and now he's really becoming that like secondary, shutdown corner. I mean, the
definitely.
guy is playing really well.
He's learning how to play bigger than he actually is.
Yeah,
you see him really being able to body up a couple guys and kind of using his scrappiness. I mean, he comes from the Pac-12, Oregon, so I mean, I'm pretty sure he was all-team defense when he was coming out of Oregon. He had some pretty good numbers coming out of college, but I think they really liked his feistiness, and I think you're really starting to see that come out of him, especially recently, and finally making a permanent spot for him on the secondary. So
right.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Yeah.
No, definitely. And then we got, so look, it didn't surprise me at all. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like KC was going to win this game as much as I wanted to see them lose in the first round, which would have been great. Because I'm sure Mahomes would have had another meltdown where he's like, I don't like losing. Sucks.
Pouting.
Oh, man, that was the worst.
They lost like a penguin over to the referee.
Oh, my God. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up, dude. You've already won 2 Super Bowls. You've been there 3 times.
One more week into him. We'll see how that goes.
And I think
there's that entitlement.
I thought the Chiefs were going to win. I mean, I couldn't imagine the Dolphins from Miami, hot Miami, going up into a freezer box and try to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. at Arrowhead, go, give me a break. No.
Yeah,
not happening.
No.
And then not to mention, look, they lost Bradley Chubb. He hurt his ACL in garbage time when they were already losing. It was like, why is he still in the game?
I believe they didn't have Xavier Howard either.
They didn't have Xavier Howard. He's a great corner.
Really good corner.
So I mean, look, they were undermanned. Like they signed Bruce Irvin, the week before the game, and I was like,
that's right.
Like, what the fuck's he gonna do off the couch? Wow. He's like, oh, I got him.
Let's get some.
Yeah, make a quick paycheck.
Yeah, they try to make a quick paycheck. You know what I mean? It was. I mean, what are they gonna do? I mean, they had to bring somebody in. Shit. They're like, well, this guy has experience at least, but it didn't make a difference. I mean, a lot of times too, when in the NFL, when they bring these guys in, to cover for injuries. I mean, look at Sebastian Joseph Day. I mean, he played like a few snaps late in the game. I mean, it's not like he's going to start. Right. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know the system yet, so it's a little rough.
They should have just texted Warren Sapp or something.
Hey, that was like what they
where's Stu at, baby? Where's Stu at?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that guy.
He's like, I'm looking for someone's face to stomp on.
I want to kill you. I want to eat you.
I want to eat you.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing, so he was like, "Fuck it, I'm not."
Yeah. I'm gonna stay on the couch.
Eat my Cheetos.
Let's jump to today's games. Now, today's games were a lot better, I thought. One reason why they were better is because we got to see the Cowboys get their ass whooped, and that's always good to see that kind of shit.
And I honestly like watching NFC football. I think it's more exciting. Call me weird,
well, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, this is a down year. The NFC isn't very strong this year." I'm like, "Fuck you, fuck that shit." Okay, so Packers, Cowboys. We knew that this game had the potential to be a lot closer. And holy shit, did Dak Prescott shit the bed in this game. I mean, almost immediately you were like, fuck, there it is.
Yeah.
The fans who were there were probably like, oh, he's doing it again. Damn it.
Did you see the fans? Oh, my God, it was hilarious. The Dallas Cowboy fans. Just shocked. Shocked. And you know what? They shouldn't be, because he's done this before. Mm-hmm. He is the master of choking against teams. I mean, look at him against the Niners. He was horrible against the Niners. I mean,
he threw 3 picks, I want to say, against the Niners.
And he just makes that dumb face.
What happened?
Like, did I do that again? Did I do that? Let me look at the Jumbotron. I was like,
he just starts going blank.
Yeah.
Once the playoff comes, once the bright lights are on, Dak will be Dak. Yeah. We've seen it before. We've seen it, the last 3 years or 2 previous years. We've pretty much have handed them their ticket home both years.
Yeah, I thought it was going to happen again this year. I was like, oh, we're going to take them down.
I was really under the impression they were going to definitely at least get by this game, and then who knows who they were going to have to face the next game. But I'm sure a lot of people had their calendar marked of seeing that NFC Championship game where Dallas trying to go into Santa Clara and trying to knock them off for a third year in a row. But
they weren't going to do it. There was no way that the Cowboys were going to beat the Niners. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Packers. And look, Jordan Love, I always want to call him Kevin Love, but Jordan Love.
Kevin Love.
I know. K-Love. I mean, when you look at his stats, he was 16-21 for 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Very similar game to CJ Stroud, pretty much.
Oh, very efficient. Yeah.
Just
very efficient. But I mean, look.
Yard average.
You have Dan Quinn as your defensive coordinator, a guy who ran the defense for Seattle during the whole Legion of Boom, saga. This fucking guy. How many blown fucking plays happened in that game? There was that pass where he ran a bootleg out and then he throws it across the field. There's nobody there. He's like, and he runs it for a touchdown. I was like, one thing
I'll say is I think Dan Quinn coached his way out of a job.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There was a lot of talk about Dan Quinn, getting him in for some interviews coming up, for some possible openings. Well, it's like, oh, he is the same guy from the Falcons. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't make any fucking sense. And there was even talk that he was going to go to Seattle.
Exactly.
Like, they could bring him in.
He
Yeah,
coaches.
Seattle,
He coaches
right.
today. He coached his way out of a job for next year. So
Yeah, they're probably like, well,
Dan
let's put him as one of the lower
But
candidates.
I will say though, Jordan Love, he made some really nice throws in that game.
Oh
he was poised.
He does have some arm talent. He has good footwork.
Give credit to Matt LaFleur. I mean, that's Kyle Shanahan coaching tree.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing a lot in these playoffs, especially, I mean, you have, like you said, Mike McDaniels, you have LaFleur now, you have D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick on the Texans now. You're seeing a lot of West Coast style. Give your quarterback space, roll them out, give them easy reads. I mean, it's quite a sight to be seen right now. There's a lot of good football and a lot of creativity on the offensive side, and give credit to Kyle Shanahan on all of his mentors.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they're all making names for themselves right now. I mean, that was a great offensive game plan for the Packers against Dallas. Exactly to what you alluded, Andre, wide open. A lot of the receivers were just catching the ball with so much space, and then
a lot of screens. A lot of stuff that was kind of underneath. But he was throwing some dimes, and there was one where he was throwing where he was backpedaling, and he threw it as he was backpedaling, and he hit him for a touchdown stride. I thought that was such a great pass. When you look at the numbers, Jordan Love, we did that already, but when you look at the other numbers that go along with it, right? So, like, if you just look at the Dallas stats, right? Receiving, CeeDee Lamb, 9 catches, 110 yards. Michael Gallup, 6 catches, 103 yards. Jake fucking Ferguson, 10 catches.
The game was out of reach. I'm sure a lot of stat padding right there. But
when you're down, was it 27-0?
Yeah, so all you do is
this says right here that they just had to throw the ball. Tony Pollard, 15 rushes for 56 yards.
60 attempts.
Yeah.
60 attempts.
That's like a major league pitcher throwing like 120 pitches in a game.
Yeah, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns with the 2 picks. I mean, goddamn, the pick 6 that he threw, it was just a bad throw, and I was like, oh,
it was just a bad time too. It was just the worst time to do it, and he did it,
and he kept throwing the ball right into traffic. I mean, he was trying to fit these tight windows. And one of the things I noticed about when it comes to Mike McCarthy, who I think is completely overrated, but I feel like a lot of his plays, he has guys in close space. So you're just like, dude, what the fuck? And so there isn't a lot of space around each receiver, and it just feels like he's always throwing into traffic. And you're just like, what are you doing, man? And I mean, he didn't fumble the ball, which is, I guess that's a positive for Dak Prescott. But the whole point in this year was that Dak was like, I'm going to lower my interceptions, and I'm going to have a higher percentage of completions. You threw 2 picks, dude, and one of them was a pick 6. You completely shit the bed like he normally does.
He shit the bed, and he rolled all over it.
He did.
Moved it around. And, one of the biggest things also is we talked about controlling the opponent's offenses and trying to limit what they can do. But turnovers is huge in the postseason. And when your quarterback is throwing picks, that's the worst, because that's when you get the pick 6s that those D-backs can run back. And that killed any momentum that the Dallas Cowboys tried to get. That is a true momentum killer.
As efficient as Green Bay was scoring, I mean, those 2 turnovers pretty much turned into 14 points.
Yeah, so, and then look at the run game. The Packers ran the ball really well too. Aaron Jones came out and was running the ball hard. The announcers were loving him.
It's his hometown.
It's his hometown. Yeah, where it's like, whatever. But the Packers came out. They had a good game plan. They ran the ball, and they scored on that first drive.
I mean, Aaron Jones, 21 attempts for 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was averaging 5.6 per attempt. Tony Pollard only 3.7. Again, I mean, both of those. I mean, you're just like, holy shit. They ran all over them.
Bad tackling. Said it earlier when we first got on.
Yeah.
Noticed a lot of bad tackling on. I mean, both teams. here and there, but mainly Dallas. Saw a lot of missed tackles, extra chances for extra yards. So
exactly, and you see, it's like, you know, a lot of these teams, if this was like a different sport, if it was like baseball or basketball, I think teams like the Browns would have a much better shot at getting deeper into the playoffs. But this is the NFL, man. Like, you have to come through, you have to shine every time you go out there during the playoffs. It's an elimination game.
Well, yeah, and you need a good quarterback. And if you don't got a quarterback that is consistent and is ready to play, you get shithole results. Obviously the Browns. I mean, who's their quarterback? Deshaun Watson is going to be their starter next year. I wouldn't trust him with anything. And look at who they tried to bring in, and strictly PJ Walker was in there.
I think Deshaun Watson's off getting massages right now.
Oh, I'm sure he's pitching a tent somewhere.
Yeah.
And then
what a fucking idiot. I couldn't believe that shit. I was like, what are you doing?
Fucking moron. It's like, what world are you in thinking that, oh, no one will ever find out about this?
That's so
it's like, stupid ass.
The other thing too to look at is in this game especially, some of the defensive stats.
They should have put in Trey Lance. Dallas Cowboys should have put in Trey Lance. Come on.
Oh, there you go.
Let's get Trey. Let me see some Trey. Yeah. I want to see some single read.
Some chance
single reads. Give me a single read.
After that, but it got real quiet.
Look at their main defensive players, like DeMarcus Lawrence, 1 tackle. He had 4 total tackles. Okay, Micah Parsons, 1 solo tackle.
You didn't hear their names called very much. For as much publicity as that guy demands, his own podcast and everything, I feel like he is one of the big stars that does not show up in big games.
I don't even know why he has that podcast. It's so stupid. He says the stupidest shit. He reminds me, though, his size reminds me a lot of Hassan Reddick. Like they're little guys. Like he's not a huge dude compared to everybody else. He's kind of a little guy.
Aaron Donald. Yeah.
They're just fast,
He's just fast. He's really fast, and you have to catch him right away, and then you can kind of control him. You
got to chip him. You got to have your running backs chip him.
With Trent Williams, and he was breaking down the way he attacks, and he's just like, you just got to watch his hands at first, and the dude's strong. The dude's strong for his body structure and weight, but that didn't happen.
I mean, Osa Igizua, good player. Fucking
crazy.
This guy right here.
You say it again?
Odi Igizua.
Oh, okay.
Osa Odi Igizua. Sorry about that.
I'm not even gonna
but
that.
He got 0 solo tackles, 2 total, so he had some assists, but that's it. Nothing. And when you have your secondary with all the the higher number of tackles, you know that you're just getting
exactly.
ran on.
They're living in the secondary, whether it's passing or running.
They had a shot.
Exactly how you know.
So they were down. They were down like 27-0, right? At this point, I'm like, what are you doing? They drive it down there. They barely get that touchdown, right? And they got bailed out, too, because he threw it to CeeDee Lamb. He didn't get in, but there was a penalty against the Packers. I was like, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. So they score a touchdown, right? They get the ball back at halftime, or after the halftime, start of the third quarter. They fucking drove it down there, and they only get a field goal. And I was like, dude, you guys suck. And then that was it. After that, it was just like, oh, forget it. And what happens? They drive it down there. They end up with a field goal. Green Bay gets the ball back, and they drive it straight down and score a touchdown. You're just like, you guys suck, dude.
You're not stopping us. You're not going to stop us. We will beat you.
And I want to say that it was either that touchdown response by the Packers, or the next one was the broken play, blown coverage, where the guy was just fucking wide open by himself. Like, okay, cool. Like, fucking any one of us could have caught that ball. I mean, like, we're wide open. Like, all right. It was great, man.
Oh, damn it.
No, like I said, LaFleur called a great game. I mean, you could see some of the plays develop. Romeo Doubs had a crazy game.
Doubs had
I noticed that one where he's just living in the middle. It kind of reminds me of that pass that Purdy throws to Brandon Ayuk, where everybody clears out and he just does that deep out and then in. and he's just wide open, and then it's just money after the catch.
Well,
saw that a couple of times actually during the game.
It just seems like he's very much in tune, like Dak Prescott. That he's very much like, I got to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I got to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a lot of targets where he's like, okay, I'm going to go to I'm looking at Brandon Cooks this time.
Yeah.
No, it's like, it just feels like he's always trying to force the ball in. And Niner for Life has a great point. No sacks for Dallas. Wow.
Yeah.
No sacks.
And that means that the other quarterback was just back there doing his thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to get sacks. I mean, imagine us playing next weekend and not being able to put any pressure on Kevin Love.
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love.
Somebody get Wiggins on him. Wiggs. Or if he doesn't get traded. And you look at the Packers, they had 1, 2, 3, they had 4 sacks. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pass deflections. You know what I mean? Like they were making a difference.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And look, at the end of the day, you have Tony Pollard, who's a good player. I think he underperformed this year, but when you compare Tony Pollard to Christian McCaffrey, big difference.
Oh, huge difference. And I think Tony Pollard is coming back from what it was, a torn ACL he got
like last year, didn't he?
In the postseason against the Niners.
I want to say,
he fucked himself up.
There's some leg injury. I think he broke his leg. I think he broke his leg.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah, he broke his leg. That's what it was.
Nothing with that fucking leg. But, he was coming out this year touted from a fantasy standpoint. Like, okay, let's get some Tony Pollard, man. That he didn't do shit.
He didn't do shit.
I think Ezekiel Elliott did more than he did.
Ezekiel Elliott. Jesus. Over on the Patriots?
With Mac Jones.
Bill Belichick's like, I thought he would do a lot more than
that
what he did.
Was just a bunch of assholes. They're just all pissed
and
off.
You got Bill Belichick who's just mad every day. Like
every day.
You guys are all underachieving. I'm the best coach out there. Fuck Tom Brady. Well, he's out. Dude, let me see if I can find it. This was so fucked up. But dude, again, it's like, if you're a Cowboys fan, can you put your trust into Dak Prescott for another year? I mean, he performed extremely well in the regular season, but is he somebody that's going to take you to that next level?
He needs a lot more help. Obviously, right? I mean, he doesn't have enough to compete at the high levels. Because honestly, he forces shit, and he's not very clutch when it comes down to it, right? So you have that problem with Dak, and then the supporting cast needs to improve in order for that team to get beyond what they're trying to do, which I hope they don't ever do.
They definitely need to give CeeDee Lamb some help on the outside. I mean, you have Brandon Cooks, who's a great slot receiver. He's not a possession.
He's a journeyman.
He's probably going to be gone within the next year.
He'll be gone. Look for another team. Play for another season.
So you got to get somebody on the other side for CeeDee Lamb. They lost an All-Pro tight end. Not too long ago, with Jason Witten retiring and everything.
Oh yeah, look at this fucking idiot.
They traded away. Who did they trade away? Just this previous
Skip
year.
Bayless.
He's a diehard Cowboy.
Was that from today?
Yeah, he said put Trey Lance in because he wasn't getting it done. What is that? What's that tattoo? Is he holding a cookie? What is that? What the fuck is that? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's what that is.
It's a child's hand with a cookie in it.
I love Oreos.
Fuck,
I'm on the wrong screen. I was like, "Why? I can't get back."
I'll tell you what, though, you put Lance in there, that would have been fun to watch. If you got a bunch of Niner fans be like, "Oh, Trey Lance, let's see what he does."
We got some more Cowboy memes.
We don't hate Trey Lance.
No, it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. He sucks.
You guys see this one?
Or he seems like ages ago. Not your year.
Doritos Nacho year.
Oh, the crying.
Look, they got the Jordan in there.
Oh, dang.
I love you some crying Jordan.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott. It says they'll start off good, but then they'll start sucking.
Isn't that the same Ram meme that you have that you keep sending to?
Yeah, there's a Ram meme out there with a crying Jordan face. It's the best. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
There's another funny Dak Prescott meme where it's if you want to have a good time tonight, don't give it to or I gotta see it. It's funny, but it's his cologne and it's called INT. Spray that on if you want to lose or something, or if you don't want to score. Or something
yeah, that's right. That's what it is.
If you don't want to score tonight, try some INT.
Oh, that's good.
I couldn't believe how bad they played. I was like, oh my god, Dak is dacking so hard right now, and he couldn't stop himself. He was just like, what do I do? Oh, fuck, another reception. God damn it.
You know what's going to be so funny is you're going to see online a bunch of Cowboy fans punching TVs now. These guys are throwing their TV out a window. It's just like, oh, here it comes. Overreactions. Beat up on your own shit.
What is this? Let me pull this one up too. This is it says Fox cameras caught Dak Prescott taking a look in the mirror after that pick six.
Are you ready?
It's just a trash.
It's a trash can.
Dumpster fire.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's good stuff.
So fitting.
That's good stuff.
Here's another one. Look at this one. This is Dak Prescott and Trey Lance competing for the job next year.
Oh, damn.
Two trash cans.
It's a close battle.
Oh.
They're neck and neck. Who's gonna win? I don't know.
Wait for me.
There was one I was trying to find, and I don't know where it went. Let me see if I can find it. It was John Chapman, who has a podcast as well. There he is. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It was hilarious, and the game wasn't even over yet. It was like in the third quarter, and he posted this. It just had me rolling. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But no, they got to figure something out with Dak Prescott. He's good to a certain point, and then he just fucking sucks.
He's a great regular season quarterback. That's for sure.
Yes.
That's about it.
Let me see if I can find this one. If not, I'm just going to move on. He posted a picture of, he might have deleted it. He posted a picture of Bill Belichick and Trey Lance, and he was like, dude, next year, Belichick and Lance are going to kill it on the Cowboys. And I was like, bro, the game's not even over yet. And then this is the last one that I'm going to show before we move on to our next game. Let me see right here. It says,
oh, yeah.
Dak, anytime it's a big game, he's like, here we go. Oh,
whoop. Oh, there it is. There it is.
And the audio to this, he says, let me see your 3-step. He goes,
1, 2, 3.
I love it, dude. I love seeing the Cowboys lose. Fuck the Cowboys. It's just funny, man. These guys.
The best.
So at what point do they not become America's team?
I mean, look, I don't think you could take that away from them.
I wouldn't even call them America's team, man. I mean, that's such an old thought nowadays. It's like, no way.
Bayless is a complete comedy with Dallas losing. Yeah, he just fucks and he just trips out. Okay, so now we're done talking about the fucking Packers destroying the Cowboys.
That
was a good one, though. Let me see. What is this? Oh, that's a dumb one. But no, I mean, there's so many memes out there. It's unbelievable, and it's just so easy at this point. I don't think we're gonna see Trey Lance next year. I think they're just gonna roll out with Dak Prescott. They already have him signed. And they're just going to have to fucking figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think they just need to add more to that team. That team's not ready to compete. And they might need a new coach.
Oh, that's what it was. Dak Prescott Column for those nights when you don't want to score.
That's it.
INT.
INT, baby.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's move on to our the next game, which is the game that just finished about an hour ago or so, is the Rams at the Lions. Okay, look, I thought the Lions offense looked really good early on. When they got into the second half, when things started to matter, I felt like they completely clammed up and they just started making mistakes and they weren't tackling. They weren't, just getting to the ball. And the Rams almost won this game.
Yeah. But I would congratulations to the Lions. That team deserves a shot at the next round. Fuck the Rams. Okay, we've already seen this story before.
Yes, we've seen it before.
Cooper Kupp and his little catches and all that crap. Puka had a great game. But it was just really good to see the Lions kind of pull that off at home.
I had a feeling that the Rams are going to win this game, so I was like, oh God, here we go. But no, they were able to pull it off, and good on them for doing that. Because they could have easily fucked this game over.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
They were, like I said, both teams got off to a pretty quick start. It seemed like both defenses were struggling figuring out the passing game on both ends. You had great games, like you said, Daniel, from Puka Nacua. On the other side, you had Amon-Ra St. Brown pretty much doing his thing. But I feel like, yes, towards the second half, as the Rams started to creep back in, you kind of started to see Detroit seemed to be playing like they were, trying to not lose the game. Rather than
they were like, oh shit, I think we're going to win this game. Don't fuck it up, guys.
And that's one thing where I think that could come back to haunt them, next round if they're not too careful and if they're not, foot on the gas the whole time. But yeah, I think they started to get a little lackadaisical in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, this team does not worry me whatsoever. If the Niners were to go up against the Lions, I think we can. I really feel confident the Niners can beat the Lions. I know the Lions did get back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was really good. In fact, I think he's the one who put the big hit on
Tyler Higbee.
Higbee, and then their running back. I think Kyron Williams got whacked. Yeah. Then he had to leave the game to get checked, and Gardner-Johnson hit him hard. Yeah. And CJ Gardner-Johnson was a part of that secondary of the Philadelphia Eagles last year.
Correct.
And we'll talk about them a little bit later.
Did you see Higbee's knee? Holy cow!
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be
he got his knee shattered. It looked like he got his knee shattered.
Oh wow,
yeah. Dude!
And then not only that, he got upended. I mean, he took
he flipped him over,
shot to the ground, and I think his chest hit or something hit. You could see him holding like his upper body at the same time.
Oh yeah, he was a mess after that.
How are you walking right now?
I don't know how he did it. It's amazing. These athletes, man, they're insane.
Like, if that was any one of us, it lights out.
Call in the helicopter.
Not like he meant to, but Stafford hung Higbee up to dry, and CJ made him pay for it. So,
and then he tried to talk shit to him too. Stafford was like,
yeah.
He was like, "Go fuck yourself.
Don't do that, bro. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Come on, bro."
He did not approve of that hit. You could tell. He was definitely letting them know.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably told him, "Don't throw the ball like that, you dumbass."
Yeah, because it's gonna happen again.
It is not a penalty.
No legal hit. No
legal
flag
hit.
thrown.
No headshot. I mean, it's shitty when you see a player get their knees blown out. But I mean, knees blown out or their heads taken off. I mean, come on. Pick one.
Yep.
Here, check this out. Hold on. This is another meme for the Cowboys game. I'm sorry, I had to show this the last one.
Please show it again.
No,
yes,
please.
Go ahead. Yes, do it.
At the Cowboys expect.
It says Bill Belichick watching this game.
Where is he anyway?
He's just watching.
Incognito.
But let me pull the stats back up again. And this game too. I mean, it was a lot closer of a game. It was a much better game. I would say it's probably the best game so far. Because I mean, even when you're watching Chiefs Dolphins, it felt like they weren't ever going to catch up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they just. Yeah, and when they were down 27-0.
With the Cleveland Texans game, never. Besides the first half, it never really seemed like it was that close. But this game, as far as back and forth, offensive scoring pretty much at will in the first half. It was very entertaining, and then defense started to lock up, and it was down to the wire at the very end.
I mean, like one of the games that I forgot to make an overlay for, like the Buffalo Bill. Oh no, I do have one. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to jump the gun here, but when you look at the stats for the Rams and Lions, I mean, Stafford 25 of 36 for 367, 2 touchdowns. He had a really good game. I mean, he looked really good. I was like, man,
even Matthew with the banged up hand too. He banged his hand in the first.
They both had a good game. I mean, look at. Jared Goff, 22 of 27, 277, a touchdown, 121.8 quarterback rating. They both had 121 quarterback ratings. Kyren Williams, I mean, their running game kind of vanished on them, both these teams. I mean, Montgomery had 57. Gibbs had 25. No one gives a shit. Amon St. Brown, who used to be on, I think he was a Brown, and they traded him, or maybe it was the Bears. But he had 7 catches for 110 yards. He was targeted 9 times. And Puka Nacua, 9 catches, 181 yards. He's averaging 20 yards a catch. I mean, every one of those he was targeted 10 times, and he got 9 of them, which means that he was getting a first down plus 10 almost every catch. It's unbelievable.
The guy can make a catch in any type of traffic. There was one point where I saw like 3 or 4 guys around him, and the guy's still going up to the point of attack and making the catch and then bringing it down and taking some vicious hits at the same time.
Yeah, he's a strong.
He was getting whacked.
I hate to say it, but the guy he reminds me of Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, he does.
He's got that low center gravity. It's hard, even when you think you have him brought down or you think you've licked him as good as you think you can. He's still gonna gain yards after that.
But no, I mean, Tyler Higbee didn't even fucking play. He got hit, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then Cooper Kupp, 5 catches of 27 yards. I don't know what happened to him. Well, he got targeted 9 times.
Yeah, I think he's over the hill. He peaked. I mean, the Rams came to play.
They definitely did. They definitely did.
They represented the NFC West, and they tried their best. I mean, shit, you only lose by 1 point going against the Lions. I mean.
Let's see.
Solid game.
They had 2.5 sacks. Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions had 2 sacks. So they each had about 2 sacks. And you can see defensively, there wasn't like there was one team stats better than the other, like we saw in the previous game. You know, this was a close game.
Yeah.
And
the quarterback's numbers, attest to that. You see that obviously both defensive front sevens could not really get to the quarterback efficiently or consistently. So that's why these receivers and these quarterbacks went off this game. Obviously, that's what you want to see when you want to watch an entertaining game, but not very sound defensively. And again, a lot of missed tackles. So
well, and this is how I expected the Cowboys season to end. Somebody else said that. So no, but I mean, look, one of the major things too is that LaFleur took the ball on the first possession of the game. He could have deferred the second half. No, he wanted the ball, and what did they do? They went down and they scored a touchdown. And that was huge. They were like, oh, shit, they scored right away. Oh, now what do we do? Dak, hurry. And then he was just like, oh, fuck. He was rattled immediately.
Yeah.
And then here's a stat, too. And why that was important is that Dallas was 10-0 when they score first and 2-5 when they don't. So he knew that, hey, if we can get that touch, if we can score first, we got a better shot at winning this game. So, props to him.
The pressure on right from the get-go. Smart call. I mean, look how the game ended and look how the game went pretty much throughout the entire game.
But here's my question, though, is that, when we're talking about Green Bay, I'll switch gears on the game, sorry. But when we're talking about Green Bay, I don't see Kevin Love doing what he did with that much time against San Francisco. I don't. I think our defense is way better than the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, look, they have Micah Parsons. We have, Nick Bosa and Chase Young on each end. You know what I mean? They're just fucked. What's going to hurt us is that Cleveland Farrell is not going to play. I believe he's still hurt. And he's been really good at setting the edge, and stopping against the run as well. But this game was a good game.
Downs, right? He's in on base downs, right? So we're going to be missing him on base downs, and I heard Chase Young's going to be getting more of the, pretty much going to be playing the whole game now.
Yeah, and he's really got to step up too.
Absolutely. No, we're going to need him this divisional round and beyond if we can, we can come through against Green Bay. But obviously, the Niners having a lot of guys come back from injury is going to be huge. Eric Armstead should definitely help us regain some ground in the run game.
Definitely.
Been struggling a little bit in the run game recently.
Yes, that will definitely help.
So that'll
for
be
sure.
a big factor and something to watch.
Then we got the other games that we haven't seen yet. We got Buffalo at the Steelers at Buffalo. If Pittsburgh somehow wins this game, that's gonna the AFC is gonna be all about the Ravens. You know what I mean? Like if the Buffalo Bills were 6-6 and they've won like 5 games in a row. And if they make it to the Super Bowl, they would have won 8 games in a row. That's a hard thing to do, to win 8 straight games, and that include the playoffs. I don't know.
It should be a good game. I think Tomlin has that team playing probably to the best of their abilities at this point. They're going to be without TJ Watt. That's a huge
JJ Watt.
loss.
Was it TJ Watt?
No,
TJ Watt.
That's a huge loss for that
That's
defense.
massive.
That
he's a disruptor.
Stud.
He's the heartbeat of that defense. Without him, everybody else is going to have to step up if they want to even have a ghost of a chance of coming out with a victory.
They do got Rudolph. Oh, Rudolph.
Oh, Mason. That's right.
Yeah.
Mason. And Josh Allen at one point this season did lead the league in interceptions. So I mean, at any given day, if you can make him uncomfortable, if you can throw him off, he will make mistakes.
He'll do some stupid
shit. He's consistent at pretty much doing that every year in and year out.
Well, and look, everyone's like, Josh Allen's a great quarterback, and he is. He's really, really good. The problem with Josh Allen that I always see is that he tends to chuck the ball. Like if he's like, I'm gonna fucking throw it deep. Fuck him. Oh, wait, it's intercepted. God damn it! Like he just throws it with haphazardly. He'll just throw it deep, and it's like he figures, well, maybe I'll get the pass interference, and maybe I can hit that throw. Yeah. But like I against even the Dolphins, he was throwing picks left and right. He was just like, oh fuck, I'll do it again.
He's reckless. He's reckless at times. Yes. And if you can make him reckless during any given game, you have a chance to beat the Bills.
And I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is supposed to be coming back for this game. I don't even know if Patrick Peterson, that old man, is still there. So, I mean, they have a shot, but, I mean, a lot of it has to be based on Najee Harris. They got to run the ball.
He's been running the ball really well.
He's going to be the X factor for this game.
Finally, this guy is running the ball. I mean,
but here's the thing, though, is the Bills are going to be like, hey, look, we got to stuff the box. We got to make Mason Rudolph beat us. And I don't think he can. He's going to be like, fuck, damn it. I got to throw the ball.
Yeah. 40 times.
No way, dude. I mean, like 25 throws, maybe you can get.
If you keep Mason Rudolph under 25 throws, Pittsburgh will be in the game. If you make him throw 25, 35, 40 times, they are not winning this game.
Well, and the Steelers have to establish a run game.
They have
in order
to be
successful against the Bills. If they don't do that, then you're not going to be able to set up play action or anything like that. And Rudolph needs all the fucking help.
But again, it's going to be really shitty weather. It was terrible on Saturday. They had video of it. It was like, I was like, oh my god!
Saw it on Bleacher Report.
So they're going to be running the ball regardless. Both teams.
You're right.
The difference is that Josh Allen can run the ball himself, and he will run through people like, he's just so huge. You're like, holy shit,
giant dude. He's huge.
He's giant. Let's go to the next game, which is going to be the Eagles at Tampa Bay. I don't see how the Eagles can win another game. They look like shit. Jalen Hurts has a mangled finger. AJ Brown is out of the game. Devontae Smith got his ankle rolled up on a shitty play calling by Nick Sirianni. Anything's possible, obviously, but I don't see the Eagles winning this game. What do you guys think?
No, I think it's advantage Tampa Bay. The fact that the game's in Tampa, Baker Mayfield and his receiving core.
Baker.
It's weird we're still talking about this guy, but in one of the worst divisions this year, it's pretty much anybody's division, and we obviously saw Tampa Bay was the best team, second half of the season. So kudos to them for even getting to this point, but This matchup, I think, definitely favors Tampa Bay. They couldn't have asked for a better matchup at this time with what's going on with the Eagles. There's a lot of uncertainty with a lot of the calls that the coaches made this season with changing the defensive coordinator, getting rid of some of the staff. It's
I really hope the Eagles lose.
Me too, brother. Me too. I'm right there.
We all do. I mean, no one wants
right
to see the
you.
Eagles win because it's just going to be a bullshit game next weekend with them. You know,
five of the last 6 games they've lost. This is. I mean, it would be. I think it would shock the NFL world if the Eagles somehow win this game and win this game outright.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles is basically out of control, spiraling, smoke coming out of everything. Plane coming down to earth, and I'm pretty sure it kind of landed already, and now we're just looking at what's left over, and it's going to be
the wreckage.
It's the wreckage. You know,
are there any survivors?
I'll eat his back. You know, is this
alive? You know,
yeah, alive. Yeah, cut the ass cheek.
Like, where the muscles at?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, but the Bucks, yeah, they got a healthy squad. They got good players. I mean, it should be an entertaining like first quarter, and then just snooze fest through the rest.
And then, did you guys see the post game press conference from Nick Sirianni? Oh my God, he was like, "We're a bunch of fighters. When we get knocked down, we get back up again." And we, they don't effing stay down. I was just like, okay, you're fucking stupid, dude. What are you talking about right now?
He was probably thinking he's going to get fired right then and there.
Well, and that's the question I want to ask you guys. Do you think he's going to get fired? If they get eliminated, will he get fired, even though he led them to the Super Bowl last year? Now, they did lose Jonathan Gannon and the other fucker who went to the Colts. He lost both his coordinators. So now it really falls on him.
Yeah.
Because the whole Matt Patricia thing, that was a fucking joke.
That guy's a fucking joke to begin with.
There's all this uncertainty with the coaching staff, and I think that there's got to be some friction or some tension with the players on that decision, especially from the defensive side. But
I mean,
my gut says they'll give him one more year to right in the ship, but it could be a hot seat from the get go starting next year.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think they'll pull the plug this year, but
he hasn't made the proper adjustments to his team to show like, yeah, this guy is a coach that you want to like lean on. You know what I mean? He just seems like he's kind of rolling with what's happening, and he's just like, holy fuck, what do we do? He's just not being very reactive. It's easy to talk shit when you're winning. You know, when he goes into the tunnel, he's like, you know, I can't hear you. See ya. You know, dumb shit like that. When you're winning, you can do that. When you're losing, you just look even worse.
Yeah.
And Nick Sirianni, I think, unless he pulls something together, if he wins this game, then he'll definitely be around. But if they get blown out, I think he gets fired.
I think he gets fired too. I mean,
it's a complete collapse.
These coaches that he has this year, and with him, it just shows major weaknesses. You know, there's just he had 2 really good coordinators. They really did a lot for that team with the players, and now the system that they have now. It's just once they started playing good teams, like the fucking wheels fell off. They're like, I mean, shit, you know,
they survived Buffalo and Kansas City.
A lot of 1-score wins. You're right.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, the game when San Francisco went in there and kicked the shit out of them, they've never been the same since. They completely exposed them for who they really were. I mean, and look, when you get fucking roundhouse by the fucking New York Giants in week 18.
When that game means everything, it means for the division and everything. They had to show up that game.
I don't think,
they just squeezed by them the 2 weeks previous to that too. They just squeaked by them in Philadelphia. The Giants were in that game until the very end.
Yeah.
It just goes to show how bad they've been playing towards the end of the season.
A lot of the trash talk was like defending the Eagles. Oh, this is like their 3rd game and.
They're tired.
13 games.
They've been working hard.
They're not ready. They need more rest. Oh, shut
up. They're 10-1. They're fine.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
No.
They went 10-1, and then they ended the season going. What was like 2-6.
Yeah.
It's just a complete and utter collapse, and we'll see what they do when it comes to Philadelphia. Fuck them. They lost. And what I want to know is, where's that guy who was, that fan who was like, "This is Philly, you're gonna lose." Where's he been? I want to follow up with that guy.
Yeah, right.
So the last game that we're going to talk about is the Niners-Packer game. But before we get to that, let me just pull this up real quick. I have one more thing I want to show you guys. This is some great coverage of Cowboy fans freaking out. Okay, here we go.
Many fans say
Can you hear that?
Disgusted and want change.
Yeah.
I came from there. We love y'all. Ain't nobody else, man.
Disgusted.
I am upset. You feel me? I am from Virginia. I flew all the way in today to watch this. I'm sad.
Frustrated.
We got another Romo on our hands. Choke like a...
Disappointed.
We need another quarterback, another coach, everything. It don't matter to me. It don't matter.
That's how Cowboys fans felt after watching the team implode once again in the playoffs.
We need help. We need Jesus.
Many blaming the coaches.
Mike McCarthy losing at home against the Packers.
Says a lot.
I think legacy gone, man. Like,
Look
you
at
won a
his
Super Bowl with the
sweater.
Packers, and then you go take over a new team, and you lose at home against that team.
No Dallas Cowboy when you're on.
You know,
It's embarrassing.
Others, the
It's
quarterback.
embarrassing.
No more Dak Prescott. ASAP, new quarterback.
Dak, get him out of here. Trey Lance, the next stud. Let's go.
And many
Let's
fans
go,
want
Rangers!
change.
Who cares when we lose like this to the freaking Packers, who shouldn't even be here? It's disgusting. Let's get a real head coach. And if he can't do it for us, let's get a new quarterback. I'm tired.
Fans came from all over and dealt with the cold weather just to watch this mess.
We drove far for no reason.
Fans say they were fed up and freezing.
We're from Florida. We're freezing our off.
I still here since 10, just to freeze to lose. Not worth it.
There was enough blame to go around as the Cowboys suffered one of the most embarrassing losses in the team's playoff history.
Oh, that's
Well said. Well said.
I mean,
I
what do you
enjoyed
think
every
Jerry
minute of that.
Jones is thinking right now, hearing that? He's probably like, we gotta stick with Dak Prescott.
Yeah. He's like,
It's
"Man, I
sad
don't
too, because you know
know
what? It's not like Dak Prescott is a bad guy. It's not like he's a dick. It's not like he's rude. When in his interviews, he just can't get it done. It's too bad.
Yep.
And you know what I hate about Dak Prescott the most
What?
is that when they line up to hike the ball, his stupid, okay, here we go. It's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, here we go.
It's like,
I want to be like, Dak, do me a favor. Shut the fuck up and just hike the ball. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing right now? It's like,
everyone's like, yeah, we're gonna fucking go.
yeah, they're like, we're down by 27.
It's his unique cadence. Who knows where the hell he got that one from? But
Yeah, that's
I mean,
weird.
uh,
Like he sings it sometimes.
he-
Here we go.
Yeah, it's just fucking so stupid. You're like, what is happening?
It's like, yeah, that was cool. Fuck yeah, Dak.
They suck.
uh,
They suck, and they got what they deserved. Okay, so let's go on to the main event game for all of us Niner fans, which is going to be
Yeah.
the Packers at the Niners. Okay, so
oh,
we saw what the Packers did against the shitty Cowboys, who were, I'm sorry, they were pretenders the entire time. We all knew that they were not going to win the Super Bowl. They were not going to probably get past the Niners. Even if they won this game, I don't even think they get past the Lions. And the Lions showed a lot of weaknesses in this game. Other than Jared Goff playing well, it just seemed like they couldn't stop the Rams when they eventually did, but there was a third down play where Stafford threw it to the corner for Cooper Kupp. It was a shitty throw. He couldn't even get to it, and they had to kick a field goal. But if he could have converted that would have been huge. I don't know if the Ram or the Lions could have come back if they would have scored a touchdown. I think they might have folded because the previous possession, they put pressure on Goff and he fucking threw it to his receiver like he was like 15 feet tall. He was just like, oh, because he couldn't handle it. But Stafford was throwing dimes out there, and I was just like, oh shit.
Well, they should have gone for it on fourth down.
Yeah, at that point,
And that was it. That was just a bonehead decision.
yeah, that was just
I
like,
mean,
fuck.
the Rams had to have had at least. I mean, the score was 23-24 for the last like 6 minutes of the game, and I want to say the Rams had at least two possessions to take the lead down by one. So, not being able to execute down the stretch. The Lions just did enough on that last series just to keep them out of the end zone and hold tight for a 1-point win. So,
and then you got this right here. Here it is. You got a pentagon, a hexagon, an octagon, and then a seasonagon.
That's a good one.
It's just too easy. It's just too easy. Okay,
I
so
this is going to be a good matchup right here, Niners and Packers. I mean, that is some classic postseason shit right there. Niners and Packers.
I want to say the last time
this shit again.
Every time we meet in whether it's the wild card, we seem to have their number right now, and I know Kyle Shanahan seems to have Matt Flores' number.
Yeah.
So
when you look at the Packers, right, a lot of their offense hinges on, I think, obviously, not Kevin Love, Jordan Love's performance, but also too, they're going to try to establish a running game, and if the Niners can shut down the running game and make them one-dimensional, then you're going to put a lot of pressure on Jordan Love to make throws against a secondary that's a lot better than what we saw that Dallas had. You got Charvarius Ward, you got Ambry Thomas, you have Diamador Lenore, Jair Brown's coming back, Eric Armstead's coming back. Tashawn Gibson hasn't even given up a touchdown this year. So I mean, these guys are playing at such a high level. Isaiah Oliver's just smashed on the bench somewhere. Like, just stay there and don't move.
You're emergency only.
Down the depths of the depth chart.
But even Oliver, like recently when he's come in, he's actually done fairly well. It's when he's in there every down that they're like, all right, fuck this guy. Go after him. You know what I mean? But this should be a good game. I see the Niners winning this game. I see them winning this game 34-21. And I think that at one point the Niners will be up probably somewhere around 30-14 or 28-14, and then we'll just kind of cruise to a 34-21 win. Let's go to Dre. What do you think it's going to be, the score, your prediction?
Well, kind of exactly what you said. I think the reason why the Packers were able to have so much success against Dallas is because they were able to establish the run game. You got Jordan Love into a comfortable state of mind. He was able to sit back there. The offensive line obviously played well, won in the trenches, and Jordan Love had. I think it's going to be a matter of us being able to stop the run, make them one-dimensional, as you said, but then on our end, we're going to have to establish the run game too. Keep that offense off the field, own the time of possession, and let the defense, pretty much don't have your defense on the field for very much. I think that's the recipe for success this week.
Yeah, and I think if you get into the situation,
let McCaffrey eat.
Oh, he's going to eat. I'm worried about Moody. He showed some inconsistency. Recently when during against the Rams, you're just like, shit, there he is again. But you definitely need that kid to kick the ball well. You can't knock on special teams. Special teams is critical when it comes to these close games, or continue to build the lead. If you can't get 6 points, you got to get that 3 in there. So I think a lot of things you said, Dre, were right on point. I think getting pressure on Love. We can't forget this. He's a first-year starter, right? So you get the pressure on the kid, and the Niners just are savages on the front floor. I mean, on the edge, up the middle. I mean, Armstead, in the linebacking core, they are sideline to sideline. I mean, Fred Warner is insanely athletic. I mean, the guy is just incredible.
Dre Greenlaw should be a Pro Bowler, second team All Pro. He doesn't seem to get the respect that you would think he would. His numbers are always good. He's always one of the top tacklers on the team. I think exactly what you said. I think we need to win on the edges, and I think we need to contain Love and make him a true pocket passer, collapse from the middle. Yeah. Hargrave and Armstead have to have a big game. They have to have a big game stopping the run. They have to have a big game providing pressure up the middle. Yeah, if you can collapse the pocket up the middle and you have Chase Young and Nick Bosa eat off the edges, I think that's the recipe for success. I'm looking for Chase Young and Bosa to each have a sack or two in this game. I think the secondary is formidable. I think they're way more sound in tackling than we saw what Dallas had put on tape today. So I think Andre's pretty accurate with that score. I'm calling it at least 31-17.
All right, Daniel.
That's my score prediction.
What is your prediction for the score of the Packer-Niner game?
Dun, 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 dun. I sounds about right. I don't even think the Packers are going to score that many points. I think if the Packers get to 14, that's about what they're going to do. So you can easily see the Niners into the high 30s in this game.
Yeah.
I don't think the Packers have a great defense. I mean, shit. Even Dak and his stupidness today, he still threw.
Here we go.
400 yards and a pick six.
60 attempts.
I think the Niners are going to get good pressure on Love, and I think they're going to make him make some mistakes, and he's going to realize like, oh shit, these guys are faster than anyone I've played this year.
They are insanely fast. I mean, you're talking about getting a Dre Greenlaw who's had essentially 3 weeks of rest.
Yeah.
Fred Warner, who's had at least 2 weeks to rest. You know what I mean? Not taking hits. Those guys are going to be flying around the field, sideline to sideline. And I think they're going to help close up a lot of holes that Dallas couldn't close up.
No, definitely.
I want to see Juwan Jennings in this game. I have a feeling that the Packers are going to try to take away Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel at some point. So Juwan, fourth and Juwan's going to have to come up big.
Yeah, he does that.
Moments,
he does.
He can.
I think. Well, and one of the things that worries me too is that Shanahan gets really pass happy, and I think that in some of these games he comes out and he's like, I'm going to throw the fuck out of this ball. And then if it doesn't work out, then he's kind of like, oh shit, okay, we need to backpedal a little bit. But look, I think, running the ball with Christian McCaffrey is going to be very important. I think the Packers are going to look to try and stop their running game and force Brock Purdy, because, I mean, look, the verdict is still out on some of these guys. They're like, some of these teams, they don't believe that Brock Purdy can lead them in the playoffs, which I think he absolutely can.
Oh, fuck yeah, he can.
And this is going to be a big game for him. But the score, Daniel, what's your prediction for the score?
Let's go Packers. Packers 10, Niners 35.
Wow, this is a straight blowout.
Just a straight blowout. I think we're going to see Brock Purdy have a phenomenal game. He's not a guy that makes a ton of mistakes. He's highly accurate with the ball. And the Niners just have so many fucking weapons.
They do.
This is
your poison.
Ridiculous team to play for any defense. I mean, it's so tough against the Niners, and Brock Purdy is such a good quarterback with a great coaching staff that really believes in him. His team is fully behind him. They are all about Brock on that team. So, you got to have that as a young starting quarterback in this league, is to have that support. And you see it right there. This is probably the most united Niner team I've seen in a long time. The days of the Kaepernick and the messes that have gone on at quarterback, you really now have
all the off the field distractions. Yeah, all in the rearview mirror.
Yep.
So
that's a good point.
Wait, what is this? Is this in some kind of? Oh, it is. Okay, so Niner Nation, which is another blog that talks about Niners, obviously. They have a ranking for the top defenses in. Is it the NFC playoffs? Yeah, I think it's the NFC playoffs. And so far, they have it ranked Niners, Cowboys, Buccaneers, Green Bay, and then Detroit and the Rams are tied, and then the Eagles. I mean, you're talking about, look, Green Bay's defense has come through at different times this year, but I don't see them shutting down this offense for an entire game.
They're back in the rankings as far as stopping the run. And they're kind of banged up in the secondary. I think one of the cornerbacks Jair Alexander, who made one of the interceptions today, I don't even think he finished the game. I think he went out with a shoulder injury or something.
Well, he was
don't remember if he
the game.
Yeah, he was injured coming. He was a game time decision, exactly. So they're going to be banged up in the secondary. They're going to have to be sure tacklers, tackling Debo, tackling Christian McCaffrey this weekend. They're definitely going to have to bring their A game.
And the thing too is that, like, you're talking about a team, right, that has a lot of experienced players that have been there before. And so I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. I mean, look at Charvarius Ward. He's won a Super Bowl. He played for the Chiefs. You got Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, Gibson. All these guys have experience, and so I don't think they're going to get rattled by the moment. And what we really need to happen is we need the offense just to start out just tearing it apart
as fast as they did last week. We need to punch them in the mouth, whether it's on the if we're starting on the defensive side first or the offensive side. If we're starting on the defense, let's do our best, cause a turnover, send them on a quick 3 and out. If we're starting on offense, you gotta put points on the board.
I think one of the games in which, once you got past the first couple of possessions, where you really saw how dynamic the Niners were, was against the Eagles. And the Eagles at that time were 10-1. And they look so incredibly dynamic, and they can completely expose the Eagles for not having a very good defense. And I think that's what we're going to get to. I think early on it'll be close. Obviously, Love will I think make some passes, but I think the Niners are just going to eventually just start breaking away from them early on. By the third quarter, I don't think it'll be close. They're just a better team on all phases. Now, Daniel brought up a good point. You got Jake Moody. That's the one guy that I'm truly worried about. Now, if he hits field goals, he hits field goals, but is he a guy that if the game is on the line, like, here comes Jake Moody,
boy, you're nervous.
I'm shitting a brick. I'm like,
because he hasn't shown it this year yet.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the Niners, the way their season has gone, have not really given him a great opportunity to, get those reps during the game. And hey, that's what you want to see. You want to see the offense scoring touchdowns. You want to see the kickers kicking extra points. But we've been so efficient on the offensive side of the ball, one of the highest scoring teams. And I just think that the reps are coming at a premium during the games. Yes, he's getting all of his reps during practice, but it's not the same when you got millions of people watching and, the bright lights and whatever. But to your point, I think if there's any weak point or something you have to be concerned about, whether it's in the divisional round or beyond that, it's got to be our kicker, Jake Moody. That's
just a
sure.
kicking game. And he was, a third-round pick?
Yep, out of Michigan. Yep.
It's tough, man. It's like, if he comes in the game, the game's on the line, I'm gonna throw up. Even if he makes it or not.
out of joy or disappointment.
He checked all the boxes. That's why we selected him in the third round.
I was surprised they did that, but I mean, look, they wanted to save money in different areas, and that was one area they thought they could save money in by drafting Jake Moody. He's made a high percentage of his kicks.
Oh, no, I think he's had overall a pretty good season.
He's had a pretty good year. The problem is that when we needed him to win a game in Cleveland, he fucking missed.
Yes.
And then this last game,
that's the last.
He missed an extra point and a field goal. I was like, dude. And the thing about that is that he missed a field goal and missed an extra point in a game that had 0 on the line, no pressure, or a lot less pressure than any other game this year. And he missed 2 kicks. You're like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
So what happens when he gets more pressure? Are you going to start making kicks? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what you hope. But I think it could be a good opportunity to, it's playoff football. We're going to have to probably kick a couple field goals here or there.
For sure.
So it's going to be, we're really going to see what this kid is made of and if he has a future kicking for the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, and then if he does miss, hopefully he doesn't, but then that forces Shanahan to make some decisions where okay, we're just going to go for it now. You know,
I know. We're not going to kick this.
We're not going to kick it because we have
over.
no faith in you. I mean, obviously, you got to have a pretty shitty game for a coach.
It's 4th and 14. We're going to go for it.
Yeah, we're going to go for it for the 25
Yeah, you know, like,
it's like wow.
I'd rather take the chance.
End of the field.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, look, am I nervous about the Packer game? I'm nervous about every game, but I think the Niners will be able to handle the Green Bay Packers, and I think we'll win. I mean, look, you're putting a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. I don't want to say he's a young quarterback because he's been in the league for a while, but I think he's definitely seizing the moment, and he knows that he has talent. So I think to be honest, I think he'll have a good game, but it all depends on if we can stop their running game. If we can shut down that running game, then they're going to become one-dimensional, and that's where we're going to win.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, I think Aaron Jones has had an off year, right? I mean, he just got healthy recently, you know,
missed 5
games. He missed 5 games. Dylan was out today. So they're not that deep at the running back position. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if the Niners can really control that, which I think they can. I mean, they got Armstead back. That guy is such a fucking beast, wide body, huge man right down there. You know,
and he's the one that we've been missing for.
We've been missing him for a while
absolutely.
now.
He's been the X factor in the run game, and it's obviously since he's been out, we haven't been the same run defense. So
he checks all the boxes.
I mean, football guy.
Think about it. Armstead and Buckner were the two guys that the Niners had, when they were young, and the surprise trade of trading Buckner and keeping Armstead, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh,
yeah, I was like, holy shit, you went there?
But I thought Buckner is supposed to be badass.
They should have kept all of them, to be honest with you. I was surprised they got rid of him at all.
Yeah, but if you take a look at what has transpired since then, I think Armstead has really come into his own.
Yeah,
exactly. on what he's able to do for the Niners.
He impacts the run game not only just from plugging the middle standpoint, but how the linebackers react to the run game too.
Yeah.
So it affects a lot from both levels.
So here's something to think about too. Okay, so here's Aaron Jones' stats for the year. Okay, when you look at his the yards rushing per game, his first 3 games against Chicago, Minnesota, and Carolina, who's dog shit, he had 111, 120, and then 127 yards rushing. Okay, after that, he did dog shit nothing. 53 yards, 14 yards. 35 yards, 73, 29, 35, 18, and 41. So it's not like this guy is just running all over everybody.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to today's game, I think, again, you're looking at the Cowboys just fucking suck, and they couldn't stop anybody. I don't see him having a game where he gets over 100 yards against the Niners. I think at best, I think he rushes for like 70 yards. You know what I mean? 70, 73 at the absolute best.
I think at best, yeah. I mean, I think you're going to see maybe a combination yards of receiving and catching. Catching and rushing around that number. I'd be surprised if he gets over 50. I think the Niners are going to dial in right on that and end that bullshit and just focus on getting pressure on Love. If the Niners don't get pressure, then we're in trouble, right? Because you're putting a lot of the ownership on the secondary, which is going to have their hands full because these guys are fucking coming off a big game. So yeah, it's all about the pressure on the quarterback. That will help everything on defense.
They're gonna have to mix up they're gonna have to mix up man coverage, and I know we're custom playing our zone, our nickel, but you got it's all going to start with the front 7, like you said. Apply pressure.
Yeah.
Don't leave it up to the secondary. You can't.
And so when you look at Christian McCaffrey, I mean, even in the games that he only rushed for 45 yards, like against Minnesota, he still had 3 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown through the air. So he was at least doing shit everywhere else. And he leads the league in rushing, so you know that he's going to get a ton of touches. And his first game against Pittsburgh was his best game when he rushed for 152 yards. Jesus. And then he went against Seattle in December 10th, he rushed for 145 yards. So the guy's a machine. And when you compare him to Aaron Jones, I mean, there is no comparison. He's just better. In fact, I would say Aaron Jones is averaging 4.6 a carry. McCaffrey's averaging 5.4. So he's averaging a whole yard better. And so he's averaging 5.4, which is basically, he's getting half the amount of yards you need to get for a first down. Another crazy stat too is Brock Purdy. He's averaging 11 yards per throw. So he's averaging a first down every throw. Like, that's incredible in itself. It's like, oh, fuck, now what?
And, I don't think we've talked enough about Brock and what that guy is actually doing this year and helping put this team in the position they're in, right? I mean, we got the coveted first round by home field advantage. And if you don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball like this, and I don't want to hear any bullshit about game manager or he's only good because of the players he has around him. What quarterback isn't fucking good because of the players he has around him, right?
I mean, look at Pat Mahomes. I mean, this guy his team was stacked when he came in the league. He had Tyreek Hill. He had, Kelsey. He had better receivers.
Yeah. Sammy Watkins.
It was just different. But when you have Tyreek Hill, you can do a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's a video game.
Yeah.
Cheat code.
So I see the Niners handling the Packers, but it does have the potential to be a closer game. I just think when you look at what he did against the Cowboys had a bunch of blown coverages where you're just like, whoa, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Niners
down the sideline wide open.
Yeah. I think the Niners tighten up things. They don't allow those big fuck ups, and those are game changers, And if they can get a turnover on Love, I think that's going to really affect his confidence moving forward. So I see, like I said, I think the Niners win 34-21 because, and I say 21 is because I think in the first half, I think there's the potential in the first half that they could score 14 points, the Packers. But if I'm telling you right now, the Niners come out and they're rested and they're flying, there's no way. They're fucked. And we saw that after the bye week when we played against Jacksonville, they were unstoppable against Jacksonville. They didn't know what the fuck was happening. They were
Jacksonville was never the same after that either.
Yeah. They were fucking lost after that game against the Niners.
And they were hot, and they were coming up. They themselves were coming off a bye week.
Yes.
And you never would have thought that the way they performed.
They were
the hottest team at the moment.
Yes,
the hottest team.
Hot team.
They were 8-4 and they finished the season 9-8.
And then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, we're really not that good.
They had one more win after they saw the Niners.
Where the Niners have the biggest problem is when they fall behind. And so if they fall behind, that's going to be an issue because then Kyle Shanahan, he tends to get very impatient. And then he's just like, fuck it, throw the ball. You know what I mean? You're just like, God damn it. So they really got to score early and often and just put this game away early.
Yeah.
You know what? And I think Shanahan's probably coaching his best right now. I mean,
I
he
think
really has this offense tuned in right now. I mean, this is high power offense at its finest. You're seeing
he has a quarterback he can fully trust.
Passing game. Absolutely. You have an O-line that is actually blocking extremely well. You have you have a great tight end that can do everything you want a tight end that to do. And the coaching staff, I mean, you look at the University of Shanahan and all of his graduates, these coaches are coming out coaching their ass off right away. D'Amico Ryans, it's just, we named him earlier, it's just, he is producing coaches. You don't see this right now in the NFL.
We're gaining draft picks every year because of all the coaches that are leaving because they're all being hired by other franchises. I mean, that speaks to the volume of the work that Kyle Shanahan has put in as an offensive coordinator, as an offensive leader, and then obviously now as a head coach. It's going to continue. You're going to see Bobby Slowick probably get a head coaching job, the Houston Texans offensive coordinator. Again, another protege of the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. So it's going to continue.
you're going to lose Steve Wilkes. He's going to probably go as well, you know. And I mean, I love the change that Shanahan made when the Niners lost 3 in a row. They brought down Steve Wilkes to the sidelines, and ever since then, this team has completely turned it back around, because these players, from what I've seen as a fan, is that they like an engaged coordinator, right there. They feed off of that shit.
They feed off his emotion. They feed off his energy.
Absolutely.
They're able to have that communication one-on-one.
Right.
If something's not going wrong, and they can make those adjustments then and there.
Right. And, you know, communication is key, you know, at any level, you know, professional, working, you can see it at the professional sports level. I mean, if you have a team and these coaches know how to communicate right to their players, and these players receive it the right way and execute on it, you get good results.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're in agreement that the Niners are going to beat the Packers. I don't see a scenario where they don't. Now, the only way the Packers are going to beat the Niners is if we have a game like the Ravens, where we're turning the ball over left and right. And even then, like that first stride by the Niners, I was like, dude, they're going to fucking score. I was so confident. I was like, touchdown, here it comes. And then the interception was like, oh, what just happened? And it just went downhill from there. I was like, oh, another one? What the fuck?
Even the Ravens game, we weren't out of it at halftime. All the bullshit
we weren't.
Half, it was still a close game, and then the wheels fell off.
Yeah, then they were just like, "Fuck it, it's over."
But I'll tell you,
a lot of those interceptions in my mind were pretty fluky. I mean, everything.
I mean, like they're getting batted in the air, like intercepted. It's like, what the fuck?
You know, he gets leveled right at the last minute. He hits his arm, and the ball flutters right to a Ravens defender.
Yeah.
And the good thing is the offseason, they did invest in the backup quarterback, right? They got Sam Darnold, and he's healthy. He didn't look all that great against the Rams, but he was healthy, and he did his thing.
Serviceable. He's got the arm strength.
I think when
he's better than Josh Johnson.
Yes, he is, and I think that if he has a full week to practice with the starters, and he's experienced enough to where he can run that offense. Much better than I think Trey Lance would have been able to. Trey Lance would have been like, "Hey, so do we have any designed runs for me?" Like, oh fuck,
like,
broken leg.
Oh, my ankle. I got rolled up on.
Concussed. Geez. And that's the good thing about what the Niners organization did this year. They learned from their mistakes last season. They're like, we're not going to get into that fucking position again where we got off the couch guy who was scareder than shit when he went out there. And Josh Johnson, poor guy.
He looked so terrified.
And I'll tell you what, man, Brock came back with one arm just to hand the ball off. I mean, that's a fucking badass teammate.
That's who he is.
That's a badass teammate right there. That's the guy I would go anywhere with. I got your back, bro.
I mean, when you compare him to Jimmy, I mean, Jimmy was completely exposed with the Raiders. It was evident early on. It was like, ooh, he's not as good as we thought he was, because he didn't have the talent around him. He didn't have the Kyle Shanahan offense. You could see it immediately. Like, okay, maybe Jimmy.
He was a backup.
Maybe he wasn't that good.
Yeah, he was a backup.
But here's my thing: is that Kyle almost won his Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's been to 3 NFC title games. Last year, they were in a position where they almost got back to the Super Bowl, and the year before that, with Jimmy, they almost got there as well. And so they lost to the Rams, but they were winning that game.
Yeah.
And he could. Kyle did all of that with Jimmy Garoppolo as his quarterback.
Right, and Jimmy had some good years with the Niners.
He did.
I mean, he came in and really turned that season around when we got him from the Patriots. I mean, he was a bolt of fresh air.
Yeah, he changed the culture. He changed the culture.
Yeah, we got a winning quarterback. Here we go. Yeah, like a guy
regardless
that has
of
timing.
How efficient he was or the boneheaded mistakes he did enough to allow us to win games.
He did some stupid shit, though. I'll tell you, he did some dumb shit. Don't let that guy. Don't let that guy run with the ball, because he just wants to get broke.
Or like he likes to do those. He's under pressure. He gets the happy feet, and then he throws a ball on the run. It's like intercepted. You're like, God damn it, Jimmy. You're just like, fuck. I don't want to get mad at you.
Stop smiling.
Because you're all we got.
Oh
yeah,
man, it was bad. It was bad. Poor Jimmy. And now he's on the couch at home thinking they're probably going to cut him.
They signed that fucker to what, a 3-year contract or some shit?
He's not gonna get that contract.
No. It's like
there's some dead money right there.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pay his contract off. While I mean, he might be a backup there. I doubt it. I think they're just gonna cut him.
I mean, if I'm Jimmy G, I'll be a backup anywhere.
And that's the thing too, is that, and it wouldn't surprise me if he went back to.
Mind.
Well, you know what? Bill Belichick's not going to be there, so wherever Belichick goes, he might go there as a backup for him. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
I think Jimmy Garoppolo is an extremely serviceable backup quarterback.
Absolutely is.
I think if he's your backup, that's a great option.
Well, fuck, let's bring him back as our backup.
Oh God. You don't want to cross that bridge already. Hey, Jimmy's back.
Jimmy, get over here. Why didn't you answer my text in the offseason, fucker?
I know. And that's the thing, too, is that if Jimmy would have suited up for that NFC title game, I mean, he could have been in that game. But at that point, he was already out the door. He already knew that, he's like, my time here is over.
I need to save my body for the offseason.
But if the Niners could have found a way to win that game, he would have came back for the Super Bowl easily.
Oh, what do you know, right?
Let's go!
Yeah,
let's
go!
Hey. I'm going to lead the team in rushing this year or in this game. Like, no, whatever.
No.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. I want to thank Andres. I want to thank Daniel for joining us on this panel. We're going to try and do this as much as we can on Sundays. Now, granted, next week will be a very pivotal show because it'll be in the wake of the Niner game. If we, in fact, consume too much beverages, we may push this off till later in the week. We'll see how things kind of play out. But it's going to be a good game, and I think the Niners are going to just whoop their ass.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a classic, 90s game for us. I always think back to the Steve Young, Terrell Owens, throw where Steve Young drops back, slips down. You're like, oh, I remember watching that shit live, and it was just an incredible moment to watch. So I hope we see
Packers had our number for so long before.
Fucking Brett Favre and all that shit. Sure. So I'm looking forward to the game. I love it.
Thanks for having us, appreciate it.
Of course. Here's
forward to the rest of the playoffs.
Here's a buddy of mine, Ryan Hensley. It's not a logo; it's a rating.
Rating. Oh my god, another one.
There's just too many. There's too many.
Easy.
You're like,
so easy right now. It's American.
I like the what is it the one and gone? The one and gone.
One and gone.
I'm all about that INT cologne.
The Pentagon, the one and gone.
The INT cologne. What is it?
Just give it a couple squirts.
Dak.
Shit! What is this?
You can also use it as mouthwash.
Oh, did you see Jimmy Johnson give his pep talk about the
God,
Cowboys?
Did you see that? Dude, he was so drunk. His eyes were like popping out of his head.
He's like, I didn't know I had to be on the fucking camera at halftime. Shit.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you put me on the spot, you fucker. And then you see Strahan doing some fucking, I'm gonna fucking bear crawl right now, and Gronk's like trying to jump on him like a fucking.
Look at this shit. This is how we're going to wrap things up with a 30-second video. A 30-second video of Jimmy Johnson trying to rally his team.
This is their halftime, right?
Oh, you guys can't hear that. Hold on. Let me do it again.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the halftime show after.
It was the halftime show. I was like, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think the whole NFL world was shocked at that point.
Let's see. Here we go.
You know how hard we've worked. Mm-hmm. I don't need to have people pointing the fingers one thing or another. No, you get your rear end in there and you play the way you know how to play.
Yes,
we can win the game. We're going to open it up. We're going to go fast tempo. Defense, get after Jordan Love. You can't give him that much time. You do what you're supposed to do. We'll win this game. All right. But I'll just say this.
It's like, what are we doing here? You're not the fucking coach of the team anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
it's because he's in the Ring of Honor now. You got to put on a show for Jerry Jones. For letting him in.
Look at this guy. Look at the passion.
Look at his eyes. I tell you.
They're like bloodshot. It's just like too many whiskeys in the back. He's like, oh, fuck. What am I doing?
I need another whiskey and Coke, please.
Oh, that's too much.
And it's like, do you think that the fucking players are watching the halftime show on Fox? No, they don't give a fuck. They're like, what did he say?
I wonder what the Cowboy fans were doing. Like, oh, yeah, we need him back. Yeah, we need him
Bring
back.
back Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah,
Bring back JJ.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if I hear that shit tomorrow, I'm gonna be pissed. Bring back Jimmy Johnson. That'll solve everything. Get the fuck out of here.
That never works.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, everybody. I want to thank everyone who came out today. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Nicotina, subscribe to that as well. I'm only 6 subscribers away from 1,800. And we're working to build the channel over on Joy Area Sports. So subscribe to both channels. If you want to support the channel even further, do so by becoming a member or joining us over on Patreon. The link should be down below if you're watching on Nicotina. If not, I will add the link on the other channel as well, which is Dre Area Sports. Guys, thank you so much. We'll do this again.
All right,
this was a lot of fun.
We appreciate it.
Go Niners.
This was fun.
Go Niners.
Keep the pack.
Let's go, baby.
I'll see you guys next time.
See you, man.
Peace.
Peace.